And action.
Hey, this is Stefan with Benevolent Brand. We got my guy Cooper Nieminen here.
So,
shout out to the Uni Film Production Studio. Pretty cool setup. Thanks for coming on.
of course.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in Connecticut. I'm from a small town, Southbury, Connecticut. Ended up at UNE. I guess playing like twofold. Ended up wanting to play basketball, and then since they have a well-known exercise science program and physical therapy and all that type of curriculum, I ended up wanting to find a school that had both those things, and I was lucky enough. Coach Silva allowed me to come play on the team and then also be in the AES program. So it's kind of how I ended up here, up in Maine.
You were a walk-on, right? Kind of technically?
Yeah, so I ended up emailing a bunch of coaches because, long story short, wasn't the best high school basketball player in the world for my early high school career, and then kind of hurt my ankle. I broke it my first junior year, and then I decided I wanted to reclass and really see I really loved basketball, and I decided to reclass, go to a prep school, do 2 years there, rehab my ankle, and kind of train myself into being somewhat of a competent basketball player, and eventually ended up to the point where I didn't play much at Cheshire, but it was such a high level. All those guys go on to play college basketball, so I thought I was able to play, but I had to reach out to guys. So I ended up emailing a bunch of guys, and Silva was the one that really kind of took me in and gave me a shot, and I'm very grateful for him to have done that.
What do you think now, first year, first season at UD, kind of first time going through that AES track?
Yeah.
Any takeaways, anything you feel makes you feel like this is kind of where you want to, direction you want to go in terms of career?
In terms of just the AES stuff?
Basketball, AES.
Yeah, I think I've known I wanted to do the whole exercise science thing for a long time. I mean, how I got good at basketball was I knew I was far behind people, and everybody has the same 24 hours, right? And if you're going to be any decent at a sport or a college level sport, you're going to spend a certain amount of time playing that sport, right? And so I thought I need, if time isn't the variable, then I need leverage. I need to get more out of the time that I do. And me being kind of the nerd that I am, I decided to learn sports science and skill acquisition and apply that kind of understanding of how the brain learns and the physiology to myself playing basketball. And then I ended up here, so some things, it seemed to have worked. I got a lot better in a short period of time, and I took that knowledge and I was able to, my first gig was training other people from a basketball standpoint, and that's what I thought I wanted to do. And then I kind of got here, got into the whole AES thing, got more on the physical side of things, and really learning about the body and biomechanics and arthrokinematics and muscle mechanics and all that type of stuff. It just really intrigued me, and I'm very obsessive with it. So I think for a long time I've known this is the general field that I want to go into.
I'm in AES as well, Applied Exercise Science. I feel we have a similar kind of goals in terms of what we want to do in terms of training, career, after undergrad.
Yep.
And I've talked with you, I know before, kind of the way you grew up. Do you have any, is there anything that you live by or any kind of beliefs that you have that help you kind of in your everyday, process?
Yeah, so I think, having something that you believe is important, right? And whether that's faith or philosophy or just, your own code, it's important to have something that you kind of abide by and that, kind of dictates what your values are. Right, and for my mom and my grandmother, that was faith, the Catholic Church. For a lot of people, that is the church, whatever religion that is. For my dad, it's been much more just what his experience and what he feels is good. But it's, in my opinion, it's all kind of doing the same thing. It's guidelines for how to live your life, whether it's Stoic philosophy, Catholicism, religion, whatever you want. And for me, I grew up the church. I've been confirmed, but I guess I moved away from it a little bit. Not in that I don't believe the the basis of things are good, and like if you like kind of follow that, what ends up happening is you like turn out to be a good person. Like, I mean, yourself, Stefan, is a great example, but I've just kind of tried to like open my mind to a bunch of different philosophies and kind of create my own kind of worldview based on like experience and what's worked for me. And I'm a big proponent of like what's worked for me might not work for you, so I can only share what's worked for me, and maybe you can take some things from that. But like for me to portray what I believe is and say like you should do this, it's not the best road to take. But I guess back to like the actual question, like a lot of the things that I believe come from things that I struggled with. So whether it's like confidence or like happiness, for a while, like in early high school, I had a lot of issues with that. And so like one of the things, especially like confidence, people like what is confidence? How do we find confidence? And I like to break things down into actionable steps, because I think it just makes like a lot of people like have an ill-defined notion of like what confidence is. And it's like, well, confidence, like if you think about like the statistical definition of confidence is like it's a metric of like prediction, right? So it's like what is the likelihood that what I think will happen? And so like what do you do based on that? If you want to be more confident, you just want what you think will happen and what will happen to be closely aligned most of the time. And it's like, so just do the thing more. You'll have, or like self-confidence, it's like if you had a friend and every time you scheduled something, they would like flake on it, or like they wouldn't show up, or they would show up late, like you'd have less confidence in that person. It works the same way with yourself. Like one of the biggest things for my own self-confidence was like, just don't break promises to yourself. Like keep every single thing that you're gonna say you do, and just do that thing, because you will just build up this muscle of like when I say I do something, I do it. And that it tends to be a big thing for like my own self-confidence anyways.
I think that's very important. Something that all of us can take away is you gotta believe what you believe. If you don't believe it, then why are you following it, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to follow something like a kind of moral standard, like upbringing, like where you follow certain like principles, like you said, like if you're gonna do something, you do it.
Yeah.
And you just stick to that and who you are.
For sure.
If you know anything about Cooper, he's very intellectual, has a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have him come on, share his thoughts. You got any last minute remarks, anything you want to share?
Last minute remarks. I guess like the one thing I'd say is what's really helped me is don't feel like you need to, like a lot of people I think feel a lot of pressure to live their life a certain way based on outside pressures. And I think what ends up happening is you end up living a life that you didn't actually want because of people that, like in the grand scheme of things, really don't matter all that much, right? Like their opinions of you don't really matter. So there's one thing I'd say is like just like live your own life, try and like have some form of metric that's like your own self-respect rather than the opinions of others, because I think so many people wake up 10 years down the line, like they were 20 and now they're 30, all of a sudden they realize, oh shoot, like I've been living somebody else's dream for a really long time. And don't be kind of scared to break away from that mold. And like do something that might be a little bit scary but will like really impact you in the long run. I think that's a good final remark, I guess.
I think to sum it up, live your own story, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Live your own story.
For sure.
Thank you for coming on, Cooper.
Of course.
It's a pleasure.
Anytime. Always a pleasure.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh wee moe, 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 oh wee. Monkey see, monkey do. So who the made you?
We probably turn off.
Da-dun, 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 da-dun. Do-do-do-do.
Still recording.
Yeah, keep this in. Keep it in.
Oh, you are recording.
Yes, nice.